Welcome back to Close It Now. Sam Wakefield here. I am so stoked about this episode today. Y'all, I have been planning this for a while. This is my guest today. He's been on the show before. If you didn't hear the episode before, in fact, we're going to talk about this. The episode we did last time with Christian Moore, he talked about his process for asking and receiving handwritten letters in the home when, in his role as a comfort advisor or project manager. So we've had a little bit of a journey since then. And so we're going to talk about the journey, and that's what today's episode is about. He's one of the few people that I know personally that has been successful in both a comfort advisor role and also in a selling technician role. A lot of times we have all these people, and I get questions all the time. Man, I want to graduate into the sales role, or man, I think I want to move into the selling tech role. That seems easier. Well, Christian is successful in both, and so we're going to talk about some of those differences today. There's pros and cons to both. There's a very different mindset in both, and so if that is you, stick around because this episode is going to be very enlightening for a lot of you. So, yeah, thanks for joining me today. All right, so I want to take a minute and do a quick break here. We've got a review that we're going to cover, and also have to make a couple of announcements because there are some really cool things happening this summer, starting here really, really, really soon that I want to make sure to let you know about. So one of those things is the summer sales surge is happening again. Yes, it is. I've expanded it and we're going deeper this time. And you can you can get to it through a couple different ways, but let me give you a website that you can go to learn more about it. And it is the HVACsalesjumpstart.com. I'm telling you, I implore you, go check it out. Let me tell you what it is. We're going to be spending June, July, August, and September together every Monday night in YouTube. So not YouTube, in my Zoom room. That way we can. It's a live interactive class, and we're going to deep dive into the main components of your appointment to get you to the next level. And the reason I mention this is I'm scheduling it specifically during the busy season, but also just one night a week because we're going to go through this just like you were one of my one-on-one coaching clients, because we're going to do one thing every week, and then I'm going to give you action steps of how to immediately implement it in your very next appointments, and you get to practice it all week long. And then the next week, when we come back to our next session, we're going to review and we're going to build on that and add to it. So by the end of the summer, you're going to be a freaking rock star and to the next level. And so the reason this is so powerful, and here's some cool stories. I mean, last year when we did this, I did 5 weeks for the program last year, and one guy literally tripled the revenue of his company. Another guy doubled his close rate, and another guy literally doubled his income. And so, from not seeing any different appointments, just the way he handled his appointments and the way he was able to guide people to the right solutions. And so it's super powerful. Also, I am also doing so that's going to be June, July, August, and September. And I also want you to know I've got a little 3-day mini course. Now these work synergistically together. I want you to do them both. But at the same time, if you say, you know what, I just want a 3-day shot in the arm, I'm doing what's called the HVAC Sales Jumpstart. So that's the name of the program, and that is going to be in let's see, we are in June. I want to get you the exact dates here. That way they are correct. You know exactly when and where it's going to be. So also it's going to be in my Zoom room, but we're going to be doing this on June 16, 17, 18. So that's June 16th, 17th, and 18th. We'll check that, make sure that I am correct. Yes, that is June 16th, 17th, 18th, 2026. And that is going to be 3 days in the evenings. Yes, I know it's during the week, it's in the evenings. So it's not going to overlap your workday. So, and again, you're going to be able to immediately implement right away. They're going to virtual in my Zoom room, and I want to help you get to the next level this year. So both of those things you can get to in fact, that page is going live today. So today is Friday, May 22nd. If you go to this website and it's not up yet, give it a day. It may take a day for all of the internet to refresh around the world, but it will be up. So you can see both of those programs there, hvacsalesjumpstart.com. Or you can just email me, sam@closeitnow.net, or find me on Facebook and pop me a message there. But I'm putting together the things, the courses, and the classes where we get to interact and help you get to the next level as fast as possible. If you said, you know what, I'm tired of beating my head against the wall, I'm tired of the same level of income, the same level of sales. My close rate has been about the same for a long time. My average ticket's been about the same for a long time. I'm here to tell you there's no such thing as staying the same. If your income and your sales has not gone up minimum, if it stayed within 10% of itself year after year, that means you're getting worse, you're not getting better. And the proof of that is when you combine inflation and our price increases, those two things are over 10%. So that means your total sales and your income should go up at least enough to match that. That's what that would look like if you were staying the same. So if that is not happening, that means you are moving backwards. And I hate to see that for you. I want to help you turn it around, but you have to make the choice. You have to make the decision and take the steps. I can guarantee you that you will make back every single session. You will end that session feeling like it's more than what you invested. I can guarantee that. And if you want to know what my guarantees are, reach out to me and let's have a conversation around this because I promise you, you're not going to regret it. And so hvacsalesjumpstart.com. One last thing is, I was telling you about a testimony. I would totally want to read you this review because this is a fun one that just came in. This is from actually Dr. Nikki Ciso. She is someone that I met in a mastermind. She's not even in the trade. She's not in home services. She is a health coach. She's has a holistic health degree, and we had a session, and I was helping her to be able to help her people better. And so what she says is, so it's a 5-star review. She says, huge gratitude to Sam Wakefield from the Close It Now podcast for a profoundly valuable coaching call today. One of the simple shifts that, and she's got a mind blown emoji here. I realized I was creating resistance by focusing too much on the methodology instead of the transformation. People don't want to hear every step of my detox program. They want to know how they'll feel on the other side. More energy, more clarity, more hope, more support. Sam reminded me that great sales isn't about overwhelming people with information. It's about inspiring possibility and creating a genuine sense of, I've got you through this process. Such an obvious insight in hindsight, yet incredibly powerful in practice. Highly recommend connecting with Sam if you're a founder, coach, or purpose driven entrepreneur looking to communicate your value more effectively. So, thank you for that, Dr. Nikki Ciso. You are awesome. I appreciate that. And thanks for the review. So, for everyone else, if you have not done this, I would love if you've ever gotten value from the Close It Now podcast or you get it from this one, go over to Google reviews to Google and leave me a review, or on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave me a 5-star review and I read it online and you hear it, then you will have earned yourself a 1-hour coaching session. That way you can get the same breakthrough that Dr. Nikki Ciso received in her session yesterday as well. So last announcement. This one is for you as the business owner. My partner and I, we have put together the most comprehensive and also easy to follow path for growing your business, the structure, all of the things. You started your business for more time, more money, more freedom. And then what happened is you ended up in a business that ate all of that. And if you're have this revenue coming in and you don't know where it went, where we get to the end of the year to the bottom line in your P&L and it's there's nothing left, this is for you. If you're tired of just like achieving that same level in your business and it's like maybe grow a little bit, but it keep staying in that same place and you're ready to move past that, this is for you. If you are doing well, but you know there's so much more that you don't know, this is for you. So this is called the build. And what we've done is we're combining over 60 years worth of experience between me and my partner. And we're diving in. We've created a group setting where we can and that we have a really awesome guarantee here with this one as well. If we don't show you how you can 100% more than cover the investment into this program in the first 90 days, then we will give you your money back because I know it happens every time. And so I promise you, you're going to love this as long as you do what we say and do the work. Of course, that's with anything. Of course, you have to do the work. You have to implement. But you, it's going to blow your mind. So I absolutely want to help you as the owner build your systems, put the things in place. There's so many places in your business that you're absolutely bleeding cash that you don't even realize it. And so we're here to help you plug all those holes, grow your business, make it something valuable. That way you can exit on your own terms. And what I mean by that is if you decide to keep it and turn it into a cash machine, if you decide to grow it and sell it, if you decide to pass it down to sell it to your employees or pass it down to family members, you get to determine how, when, and how much it goes for instead of waiting for someone else to come in and say, "Hey, I'll give you this much for it." And that's usually not nearly as much as you think it's worth. So let's help you create something of value that you are happy to every single day get to work in and on. And so that's a program that is launching the first full week of July 2026. This is the first pass. So Doug and I are going to be working so very directly with you in this first group. My goal is a minimum of, and it's filling up too. We've already got several companies that are in this. We're not taking very many in this first group because we want to be able to work with you to the place where your stories are going to absolutely blow some minds. A great example is we've been working with a client. He's a plumbing company. So this is not just for HVAC. I don't care what your business is. Business is business. It's one simple formula. Money in plus money out equals something. And so we want to, this story is the company last year. He rounded out the year. And so far this year, we've already seen the biggest month. We've been working together with him for about 4 months. We've already seen the biggest month the company's ever had, the biggest week that the company's ever had. And he literally tripled the revenue of like out of his truck from 45,000 a month to 150,000 a month in 90 days. So those are the type of results that we get when we work with your company directly, not just in a sales training role, but in optimizing your entire company. So if you want to know more about that, email me, sam@closeitnow.net. And without further ado, let's get into this episode with Christian Moore. This is Close It Now. Before we get into it, Christian, let's do this. What's in your cup this morning?
Man, great question. So, as you know, since you and I talk all the time, I'm currently at the halfway point of my on call shift. So, I started Monday. I'm going to work through today's Friday. We've got the weekend. My next day off isn't until the following Saturday.
Ooh,
So,
so how many days in a row is that?
that's going to be 12 days of fun.
12 days of fun. Let's go.
So, I am currently halfway through 8 shots of espresso.
Ooh, and you say 8 shots of espresso. For everybody that's watching this on YouTube, hold that cup back up again and give us a little more details there. You can name drop, it's alright.
So yeah, down here, San Antonio, New Braunfels, Austin area, we've got Dutch Brothers from over on the West Coast. The drink order is a 911, which is 6 shots of espresso and a splash of Irish cream. And if you want to live life large, you add 2 extra shots to it. So
Let's
that
go. So I've got my black coffee here. Let's toast this episode, brother. 3, 2, 1. Cheers. All right. Well,
cheers.
let's get into this. For everybody listening, when I have guests on, very, very few of them have actually listened to many of the episodes, and they don't know what the what's in your cup section is. So it's always refreshing when, somebody that has listened to a few episodes comes on. And so, yeah, so thanks for being here, man.
Dude, thank you for having me back. Man, what a roller coaster it has been since the last time we were together on this platform.
No doubt, no doubt. And huge shout out to Al over at Cowboys. Thanks for allowing Christian to cut out some time here. I appreciate you, brother. Let's connect soon. I've been thinking about some things we can help you out with. Christian, you're talking about this roller coaster ride. Catch us up because you've made some changes since you were on last.
Holy cow, yeah. So we'll do just a quick top down view. We did our episode together a little over a year ago. We went out, we did the event in Boston, had a great time, made some great connections and some lifelong friends. And when I came back from Boston back to San Antonio, got in on a Friday, worked a Saturday. That Tuesday, we had an all hands meeting at the company that I worked for, and they announced that, hey, the owner's retired. Company has been acquired by a big PE group, and this is going to be life now. And I came back from Boston with so much fire in my belly to just crush it. And I'm like, man, okay, what's the next step? Because I'm not going to do the PE thing. I'm really big against it. It gives me the ick. So went out, talked to some companies that Thursday, ended up quitting Friday morning, got a good offer from a company, and made the transition that following Monday. So I went from a comfort advisor to a full time project manager. Smaller company here in San Antonio. We had like 12, 13 employees. So I really got to wear a lot of hats at the same time. I was running tech turnovers for the first time in my career. I was doing Zoom presentations, in home presentations. My sales leads, I was helping out with warehouse, parts running, install helper, uh, picked up a couple of maintenance calls when things got really tight on the technician team. And so I learned how to, man, really be flexible and just flow like water no matter what comes, because on a team that was that small, man, someone had to do it. So, hey, I'm here, send me.
So
And
real quick for clarity for everybody, where Christian was before was roughly 52 million a year. And then he moves to a company that was about 2.5. So very
correct.
big difference in organizational structure. Can you give us a definition real quick? Define us the difference because I want everybody to pick up what you just said. You said you moved from a comfort advisor to a project manager role. Now that you've experienced the difference, define that for us.
So where I was at initially, Comfort Advisors ran marketed leads only. So someone calls in, clicks on Google, Facebook, any of the things. Me or someone that was on my team at the time, we were going out there.
Mhm.
So if we were lucky, they've heard of us. If they didn't, they didn't know us from Adam. And so we really had to fight to establish that credibility and build that rapport on the front side, because we might be the first interaction that homeowner's ever had with the company. So we had to be on our A game every single time. Now, the difference between that to the project managing role that I had was I had those technician turnovers or tech generated leads or flips, whatever anyone wants to call them, where, and I take this from our mutual friend, Scott Sylvan Bell, uh, one of my techs that I had, huge shout out to him, Andres, love him to death. He was really good at either qualifying or disqualifying the repair,
Mhm.
qualifying or disqualifying the turnover, and then selling the absolute heck out of me coming out there to take care of them and their problems. And so a lot of that, the moment of rapport that we strive so hard to achieve, was already done for me before I even got there.
Mhm.
And you know me, I love dogs and pets. So the second I hit the front door, hey, I know who's in charge. Give me 2 minutes with this. Uh, I would get to the house and the homeowner's like, "Hey, Andres told us you love dogs. Like, all right, we've got them all out for you. Just we'll give you a few minutes. Let us know when you're ready."
I love it.
And so I got to come in a little more lighthearted, and it was man, it was really fun and really neat.
Mhm.
Um, and then conversely, going back on the marketed leads as a project manager, I guess there was less of a like internal dissonance of like, man, I have to establish this. It's no, hey, I'm Christian with XYZ company. I'm the project manager. How can I help you? What's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
So there was much more of a level of professionalism that was brought to the table.
Mhm.
And we've shared a couple of stories back and forth of like client concerns where I had to step in as the manager of the company to figure out what went wrong and what we could do to make things right. I don't think we walked away with anyone dissatisfied with their service or anything that we did after we diffused the situation.
Right. Right. So that's halfway through the journey, since you
That's
were
halfway.
since then. So continue on. I wanted to make sure to highlight that though, because a lot of people don't understand. I've referenced the difference in project manager and comfort advisor numerous times in the podcast, but it's really great to get the experience of someone else directly that you can speak to truly what those differences are. Comfort advisor is such a more of a restricted role, whereas an actual project manager handles a lot more things than you would necessarily be asked or required to in strictly a comfort advisor role. So, continue, pick up where you left off.
Perfect. So I was with that company for about 10 months. Good people. They've got good hearts, good minds, but small teams in from my experience now means that little problems can get magnified very quickly. And they were in sort of a restructuring phase. And I noticed that, hey, my opportunity to perform for the company and provide for my family was running out very quickly. And I had already been in talks with Al, his son Cody Martinez, the GM of Cowboys AC, right here on my shirt. And so the day came finally that I asked Cody, like, hey, what is it going to look like if I want to make this transition? And we sat down, we had a conversation, and I realized that one, they don't run a comfort advisor model. So it's all a junior technician or a senior technician.
Mhm.
And two, I had the chance to go back and just do one job moving forward. And that's just serve at the highest level.
Yeah.
And I've been over here now. I'm finishing my 8th week with the company. And man, I can't tell you what a breath of fresh air it is to go from worrying about all the fires that I had to put out to just going and running my calls and serving clients
Mhm.
because we have departments, we have structure where I don't have to worry about the financing. I have a finance manager for that. I have an install supervisor. I have a
Mhm.
warehouse guy. It's just, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we need. When can we get this taken care of? And all the pieces just flow a lot more smoothly. So it's it's been a good time, man. I'm having a lot of fun over here on this side.
I love it. So something you're talking about really speaks to. There's a couple things here. One is so many people get frustrated. We call it the entrepreneurial seizure. That's what Michael Gerber calls it in the E Myth. So many times in a business, we're like, "Oh man, I can do this better." Especially when we're in those small companies that we got to face it. Almost every single company in the home services is dysfunctional to a fault, and we know we have to fix these all of these components of it, but they just don't seem to get fixed. And some of the reason is exactly what you just said, putting out all those fires. So, first of all, I want to speak to. I'm going to drop in real quick because I want to speak to a lot of you who are thinking in this moment of, man, I want to start my own thing. Now, if you truly have a vision to start your own company and you want to grow something great and be incredible, absolutely go for it. If you're the person that you're starting your own company just because you got pissed off at your situation or your boss one day, I would highly recommend you, if that place is toxic, just find somewhere else to work. Don't start your own thing, because did you hear what Christian just said? The complexity, and this was, and you weren't even the owner. You didn't have the shouldered responsibility of being responsible for feeding the people in your team. That was like GM-ish level owner light version, and that stress was starting to get to you. So that's a taste of a small fraction of what it's like to actually own the company and to run it and grow it.
Man, and I've thought about that a couple of times because I've had people ask me over the years, like, "Hey, if you ever decide to go out on your own and do this, like, man, I'm your first customer." And seeing the light version that I got to experience for those 10 months,
Mhm,
man, kudos to anyone that shoulders and bears the responsibility of operating a business and providing for a number of families, not just their own. Because, man, I don't know how I would be able to survive. Like you said, the entrepreneurial freeze of having to put out all these fires, but which one do we put out first? Which one's the most important?
mhm.
Man, I'm an amateur at putting out those fires, in my opinion, and I can do it to a decent level. But to do that and then have to shoulder all the other things, man, I can't imagine. It's just absolutely insanity in my eyes
Yeah,
because I,
yeah.
I don't have that mind, man.
Mhm. And I commend you massively for knowing yourself in that. There's a right and a wrong way to do things, and a lot of times we don't know until we know. And so it's an interesting journey, this entrepreneurial world. Statistically, only about 10% of people on the planet are wired to be an entrepreneur. And that's just the way that statistics have always fallen out. But we have way more than that. And I 100% encourage everybody, if you have an inkling of it, attempt it. See what it's like. See if it is for you. See if it's a skill set that you can learn. It's very different than just being able to fix the thing. It's how do we structure and run and have strategy. And of course, I have a program for that, so we can talk about that later. But so pick up where you left off here. So now you're at Cowboys. Now describe your role now, because this is really getting us into really where we want to land today, is some of those differences. Now that you've experienced several different roles, of course, you weren't green to the industry. You started out as on the installation crew, on the retro crew. For years, you were a foreman. You were a rock star foreman that produced excellence at a high level in efficiently. And so it wasn't that you were unknown to the industry or unknown to the equipment or those types of things. But so you've served in a lot of different roles now. Basically everything, you've done it now. Everything from install to service to, complete comfort advisor, and now you're in a selling tech. But talk about your role now, and then let's start making some comparisons, because I think there's some big mental differences that you can now speak to directly that a lot of people don't quite get if they've never lived in those multiple places.
Right. So, yeah, now my job is a selling technician or senior technician as we call it over here. So, a majority of my day is spent on no cool, no heat appointments, diagnostics, water leaks, something's going on, or we also run the estimates. But the neat thing is when I show up, kind of like my little Jedi mind trick, I bring my tool bag to the front door with me on every call, whether it's a replacement lead or a no cool.
Hmm.
Because and we'll go to one of the big trainers in, the sales space, it's the confused old man. So I hit the door with a tool bag like, "Hey, I'm Christian with Cowboys AC, yeah, what's going on with your unit? Like, how can I help?" "Oh, I don't wanna fix it." Like, "Oh, are you sure?" "No, no, 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 we need to get this replaced." "Oh, okay, yeah, I can absolutely help you with that. Let me just put this down real quick."
Hmm.
So it's kinda diffusing the situation before I even start it. Half the time, I don't read the notes anyways, so I don't always know if it's a no cooler an estimate, but I found that it really disarms people within the first couple of seconds at the door.
Got it. I love this. So even though you're showing up and you know in the notes it's a strictly estimate. So further question with that though, because you are trained as a technician now. You've got the experience. You've got your tools there. Even on those, do you open the system up and still do a light diagnosis even though they give you that just to given that I mean, there could be a lot of reasons, give them the peace of mind that they truly do need the replacement, those types of things, or how deep into that do you go?
Absolutely. So I'm not going to go in and start testing all the little components, but I'm going to look at your main movers. I'm going to see, okay, hey, is there a bunch of, corrosion on the coil? Do we have a leak there? Since you're saying it hasn't worked right in a couple of months and no one's figured it out. Okay, well, let's crack the coil open. Okay, hey, we've confirmed it's X amount of years old. It has a leak. The compressor's ohming out of its range. Hey, these are all these things. Yes, looking at replacement may be justified at this point
Mhm.
rather than
How
just,
valuable do you think that basic I mean, you're basically giving them a second opinion, in that process. How valuable do you think that is in that conversation?
I think it holds a lot of weight with the homeowner because at the end of the day, you know, we'll start with the comparisons on the comfort advisor side.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
knows
that's a good place to.
everyone knows if I show up in a polo, I'm not here to work on anything. I mean, I don't have a tool bag. I've got like four things in my pockets and that's it.
Mhm,
So there are some cases where I've had people almost have a level of distrust at that point. That it's another angle that you have to work to break down.
mhm,
Whereas as a technician, it's like, hey, let me look at all the things. Let me run through what I'm going to run through, and then we're going to go over these together. And when you actually break out those tools and show them what you're looking at, whether they're standing over your shoulder or just waiting for you to come back with all the findings, there's a lot more fact based presenting at that point. There's no emotion tied to it. It's, again, going back to Scott, hey, this is what it should be, this is what it is, and this is why it's bad. This is what can happen if it continues to go like this.
mhm.
And so it's almost like talking to the doctor, like we've said before on the podcast. It's just, oh, this is what it is. What are we going to
Mhm.
do about this?
So, you mentioned something that's really important here because, in the process and we know the more that we talk about cells and the more we talk about just understanding the human first and understanding their problem and then diagnosing what's causing their problem. So then we can finally arrive at the solution to what's happening there. Normally we're talking about we've got to find the emotion. We have to connect the emotion. We have to connect the emotion, which you just outlined. These are the facts with no emotion involved. So unpack that for us because until we get under the hood here, it feels a little bit cognitive dissonant. It's like in conflict to itself. But I know what you mean because we work together. But for everybody that's listening, really go through that because I feel like it's a really important distinction.
So in this instance, we can change the phrase no emotion to no weak language.
That's powerful.
For for anyone that's out there, let's say we have a capacitor. It's rated at 50 microfarads. It's got a decay of plus or minus 5%. Well, if you test it and it's at 40%, but the unit's still turning on, there are some technicians that'll say, well, it's kind of bad. Yeah, it is out of range, but it is still turning on.
Hmm.
No, Sam, look, the manufacturer rates this at 50 plus or minus 5, and you're testing out minus 20%. This is bad. At some point, this is going to fail to turn on your unit, and you're going to be without air conditioning. What most homeowners choose to do is just get ahead of it, even though, yes, it is still turning on. They don't want to get put into a bind come middle of summer, and now the AC is not working. And when they try to call me back out, I'm booked up for 2, 3 days because you and every other person with an AC in San Antonio is dying without AC.
Hmm.
So, do you want to go ahead and just get this taken care of so you don't have to worry about it?
So I love that. So yes, absolutely. That is such a much more direct, powerful way to present that. Um, but on the backside of it, there is emotion there. but it's not coming from you. We're tying so talk about that. We're tying it to an emotion, but we're
Mhm.
future casting that. So, unpack that a little bit because a lot just happened in that little short piece.
Yeah, so it's again, there's no emotion slash weak language on the front side, but I still want to tie in the emotion on the back side of what could happen on the day that this does go out.
Mhm.
I'm not going to tell you how much time this part or this unit has left. We're not magicians. There's no crystal ball. It's on what horrible day in your life is this thing going to crap out on you? Do you want to get ahead of it or do you want to react to it after it's already happened?
Wow. Yeah, that's a powerful question. This is not, manipulation or anything like that. It's more about showing them actual reality because
Exactly.
we try to homeowners try to gaslight themselves a lot of times in these decisions, and it's really helping them to see clearly what is going on and what the potentials are.
So I would love to share a little side note story regarding something like this, if that's all right with you.
Of course, yeah. Great permission
So,
question, by the way.
oh, thank you. A couple of weeks ago, I got a phone call. There was a homeowner. She had another AC company come out. They told her that, hey, your 4-year-old system, it's got a leak in the coil. Uh, it's under warranty. It'll be like $2,000. We'll call you tomorrow. We'll get it all taken care of. Well, tomorrow comes, and she then finds out that while yes, the coil's under warranty, it's no longer supported by the manufacturer. So she calls into our company. She is just livid.
Mhm,
And my boss, Cody, calls me while I'm on an appointment, kind of preps me for the situation. I'm like, hey, let's go take care of this. Like, I got this. Let's go.
mhm,
And I'm met at the door with resistance. It's, why isn't the manufacturer honoring the warranty? This isn't right. And I go through all the things of, hey, we're at the mercy of them, who's at the mercy of the federal government. We have these regulation changes, which means legally they can't make these parts anymore. So whatever stock they have left, great, we can use, but they don't have any stock of this. But let me get eyes on the whole situation to see what's going on.
mhm.
I go up there, the darn tech didn't even open the coil up, so I don't know how he said that the coil was bad. I confirmed 2 leaks on it with my leak detector. I've got videos, and I also noticed while I'm up there that it was a single stage system on zoning, and we know how bad that is.
Yeah, we could take a
So,
whole journey down that path. We could spend a whole episode on that one.
oh my gosh, we can. So, I go down and we start going over, the different things that we can do to take care of this. And I did a very long drawing that you and I have trained on before on why single on zoning is bad. And this is like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night almost. And she just goes, Christian, I don't understand what you're trying to say. You have 4 options in front of me. What do these mean?
Mhm,
And I go, okay, replacing your coil, doing your outdoor unit and your coil, doing a full single stage system guarantees that you're going to see someone like myself back in a few years because this is installed incorrectly and not within manufacturer specifications. You're more than welcome to do those if you want, but you're going to have problems in the future. Would you agree? And she goes, well, yeah, that does make sense with all the drawings that you did. And I go, okay. Option number 4 guarantees you don't have to see someone like me again anytime soon because it's being set up correctly. So you don't have to worry about this in your house moving forward. I understand it's only 4 years old and this isn't right, but this is setting it up the way that it should have been set up from day one. And she looks at it and she goes, okay, I'll do the top option.
that
And
is
because it
fantastic.
was, well, it gets better because it was a client concern. We sent a crew out same night.
Wow.
Our, gu- our guys got there at 11:45 p.m. and did a complete system install by the next morning.
That is that's a holy wow. So for everybody listening, that's service instant service. I mean, what was the timeline from when she signed and got approved and all the things until the guys actually arrived on site?
So we had everything buttoned up by 9:30 p.m. So 2 hours and 15 minutes for
And then
our
they're
guys to.
showing up with equipment ready to install. Whew. So for all you owners out there, if a company moved into your market and started functioning like that, what would that look like? What would that do to all the other companies in your market? Or on the flip side of that same coin, if you decided to function like that, how much market share do you think you would take in a real short amount of time? I'm just going to leave that question hanging before we get back to this conversation, because there's so, in fact, actually, we can camp on this for a second. Now that you're here and you have the ability to send a crew like that, what w- have you seen situations? And I know you're only a couple months in at this place. Have you seen some situations where you were able to close business strictly on that fact alone?
Yes, and it's not just myself as the one-off, it's every guy that is on my team for the senior technicians. Uh, we all know that in the back of our mind that, "Hey, look, we can get this done, and we can get started within the next hour and a half to 3 hours."
Hmm.
So, I understand, you might be wanting to get all these bids and all these things, but, I mean, do you feel like it's worth it just to circumvent all the headache of going through this song and dance and just getting it done and done right and knowing that you don't have to worry about this again? And man, I I was blown away because coming from the install department with doing it at 2 companies, across 2 states, dude, I couldn't imagine at my age right now getting out to start a job at almost midnight, but this is the only thing we know how to do over here. And I've had a very long talk with the owner and the GM of the company. They're like, "Hey, this is how we built our brand is that if you have a need, we're going to be there." Like we run 24/7 here, as you can tell by our conversations offline. I think I'm out past midnight at least one time a week because on the way home, someone has a problem. "Hey, are you still out? You still ready to go run one?" "Hey, yeah, I'm still on the road. Let's go do it."
I love this. So let's turn the corner a little bit. God, there's so much we can unpack here. We just don't have time. I would love to camp out on and literally spend forever on each of these things because everyone is a gold nugget and a business builder. But let's get a little more back into the direct comparison of we've got a lot of context now. So let's get back into the direct comparison of strictly that comfort advisor type of a role versus the where you're at now as a selling technician. Because there's definitely pros and cons to both. There's some things that we can take liberty with in one role versus the other. So the way that can are allowed basically to speak to the homeowner as far as being direct or not in both cases. Some things we can get away with in the comfort advisor role that you can't as a technician, and vice
Mhm.
versa. So, and then of course the way that they receive us is very different. So I'd love for you to give us maybe like a top 3 or 5 things that you've noticed in this journey and the comparison that compare and contrast this a little bit. We'll make this a SAT question.
Ooh.
Um,
So the biggest one that I'll start with is when I show up as a technician, I've yet to meet a single person in the last couple of months that is unhappy with my being at their home, regardless of the time of day or night. It's always, "Oh, thank God you're here. We've got a problem."
right.
Versus,
And for everybody listening, Christian's not only 2 months in this. This is in the new role here at this company. He was doing the same thing at the previous company, so he's got a year under his belt as well of doing this type of a thing. So he's not brand spanking new to it either. So for all of you out there that are listening, well, he's just brand new. He hadn't had enough appointments yet. No, this guy's been in the field for years. He's had appointments. He knows what he's talking about.
absolutely. Yeah. And just to double back and set that credibility flag that I failed to do earlier, I've been running sales leads since 2021. So I've seen my fair share on the strictly sales side. Now, yes, I'm still dipping my toes in the water on the selling tech side. But again, I can speak to it.
Hmm.
No one is mad when I show up as a technician. "Hey,
Hmm.
we've got a problem. Let's figure it out." Whereas as a comfort advisor, there can be some walls that are put up before you even get there. Maybe the last company's comfort advisor rubbed them the wrong way. Maybe they sat and pushed and poked and prodded at the fact that you said, "Hey, I can't do this right now." And now I'm walking into a minefield that someone else laid out before me, and I've got to figure out how to diffuse all that. But as a technician, hey, man, I'm here to help. What's going on? How long has it been going on for? So
That's
that's
a huge one.
the biggest one.
Mhm.
The ability to naturally have rapport built from the diagnostic process has been great, rather than going through and really having to leverage an introduction, a credibility statement, things like that. Like, homeowners are going to watch you work most of the time, and they're
Mhm.
going to see, okay, look, he's testing all these things. He's saying, okay, this is here, that was there. And so a lot of my hands do my credibility for me. So I don't have to speak as much, and I still have the same effect, if not more.
Sure.
And at that
So
point, oh, go ahead.
yeah, I'll say so you can get away with it. So here's a question along the way then. Um, the way I've always trained it, because I've done both as well, is, for a technician, you don't have to go through the full journey, but a shortened, abbreviated version at the beginning, and then, like you're saying, let your hands do a lot of the set the credibility for you. But it's not just it's so I I think there's something hiding behind the surface here that a lot of people are were not really unpacking is when you say that, yes, so many technicians are fantastic technicians, but what's missing is what you just said is you're self-narrating along the way. You're showing
Yes.
basically what we call showing the work because so many people will just they'll silently do their diagnostic and let their hands do the work. But then that never gets communicated to the homeowner, so nobody really understands what's happening. So really talked about that because that's the component that I feel like you have an advantage of coming from the other side and everything has to be over explained over the top. And so how are you marrying those two together and really unpack that for us?
So, that's a great question. And I failed to even realize that I do it without thinking now. It's just on autopilot that when I'm on these service calls, every time I make a pass by the homeowner, if they're not with me, they're getting an update on the situation. It's always, hey, this is where we're at right now. This is what we've seen so far, and this is what we're looking at next. Any
Mhm.
questions? Would you like to come see? I'll take homeowners in the attic with me to show the work while the work is being done. Um, I had one a couple weeks ago where we had some shorts on the system, and homeowner's this big old bodybuilder dude, and I'm like, hey man, come up in the sauna with me real quick. I had the plenum open, and I go, put your hand in there, and he goes, okay, well it's cold. I'm like, all right, watch, and I touched a wire because we had a short to the heat kit. He
Mhm.
goes, okay, well the air's hot. I go, all right, it's not that the AC is not working, it's that your heat kit is working at the same time as the AC. So we're gonna figure out what's wrong with that now. And he goes downstairs, he's telling his wife, oh, he had me test this with him. Holy cow, yeah, it is working, but something's working at the same time.
Mhm.
So when I come sit down and we start going over what we could do to take care of it, dude, he's not only is he bought in, he's half trained with me for the day.
Well, this
So
is so
it's
good. This is so good.
the ability to show your work as you're doing it. Uh, and maybe I haven't seen enough technicians outside of my little bubble that I've known since I've been in Texas, but a lot of them are really good at doing that because that was how they were all trained.
Mhm.
But I have heard from guys that work at other companies now that have their bubble that that's not always the case, where the tech is the best fix it guy in the world. But when it comes to communicating, he really drops the ball because he doesn't invest any time into the communication side of his job. It's just the technical working with the hands and troubleshooting stuff. So making that move from comfort advisor down where my tool bag was communication down to here where I have a tool bag. I also have communication. You kind of have the best of both worlds now.
So let's play through this a little bit because I'd like to hear. This podcast is known for. let's give people something that they can implement immediately, something they can listen to this show and go to their very next appointment and something they can use. Let's Are you open to role play this a little bit?
Ooh, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll be your homeowner and come up with some, a scenario in your head, something moderately basic, but I really want to. I think it might be fun to go through it two different ways. Let's go through it I call it the silent man way, um, and where you show up with the things. Here's the numbers and as far as that goes. But then I'd love for you to take us through what so go through the wrong way, and then let's go through the right way. Take us through what that truly sounds like, because it sounds good when we say, "Hey, you have to communicate more," but what do we actually communicate along the way? What does it sound like? Let's give somebody something they can really grab onto.
Okay. So let's take this back to let's go to a call from my first week in the field over here where
Okay. So yeah, set us
we
a little
had a
context, and then we'll get into it.
yep. So we had a 9-year-old system. Uh, the original installing company did not register it, so there was no warranty on this unit. It's a no cool, and the system was flat on arrival.
Okay, so zero charge left.
No charge left. I mean, it was as dead as disco at this point.
Okay.
I went through my process. I'm looking at everything, and once I had hooked up, um, in my mind, I'm like, man, I have a couple of options here. I can either explain that, hey, we can charge for a nitrogen test. We can find what the problem is. Once we know the problem, we can find out how bad the problem is going to hurt, and then we can go from there. And mind
Mhm.
you, this is at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Um, Homeowners are in the garage watching TV, drinking beer. And I made the decision to, hey, I'm going to give you your full range of options. So in the presentation, it was, hey, Sam, so would you like to see what the diagnostic has uncovered today?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, well, I mean, here
Okay.
here, you want a beer with us? Well, let's just hang out.
Yeah, man, I would love to, but I just don't drink anymore, man. But thank you, though. I really appreciate the offer.
No, alright.
So Sam, I understand you said the AC stopped cooling like last night into this morning, and it's been off all day. It's now like 85 degrees in the house. Well, from my diagnostic tonight, what I found, there's zero charge in this system. I don't know where it went. I don't know how long it's been going like this for, but it means that we have a leak somewhere. We're losing that refrigerant. So we have a couple of options. We can do a pressure test. We could pump the system all the way full of nitrogen. We could start isolating and figuring out what exactly is wrong. Once we know what's wrong, we can get the pricing, go through all the things on that side. But if you remember earlier when I told you that the last company never registered this warranty, everything at this point is out of pocket for you. And it's been that way for the last 4 years. And I know you said earlier that you just replaced that coil like 3 years ago and paid cash out of pocket.
Mhm.
How much did you say that was? Like $3,000 or something?
Yeah, yeah, it was right around that.
So the last thing I want you to do is to hate me for anything that I do here tonight. But I have to warn you that whatever the repair is, you don't get that money back when the next thing fails.
Mm, yeah, okay. So what's
So,
the other option then?
man, the other option, and again, I don't want you to hate me for it because I know this system's only 9 years old and you just bought that coil cash. The other option is updating this thing to have a full brand new set of warranties and guarantees on the equipment and a system that's installed correctly because we saw together inside that there was a couple things that were a little hokey in there. Uh, Again, I don't want you to hate me. Earlier, you said that it really comes down to taking care of your grandchildren that are in the house because they're differently abled and they need to have that conditioned air inside of the home. And I just have to tell you that I don't know what the turnaround time is on the fix because we haven't isolated the problem yet. But the fastest thing to give you that peace of mind in a cool, comfortable house is resetting this thing from the ground up. It's totally up to you which way you want to go. Be more than happy to take care of it either way. You just let me know how I can help.
Wow. So let's hit time out real quick because um, that is such a powerful conversation that we just had. At the same time, um, a 9-year old system, so many technicians would have a real hard time having moving this to a replacement conversation. So most importantly, what was going on in your head during that time period? Like where is your mindset around that specific sometimes resistance for people? And you've laid it out so beautifully in a very neutral way, so it's not you pushing, you're making sure they feel like they have that decision. But what's going on in your head that allows you to have such a neutral conversation and normalize it so it doesn't feel pushy?
So I'll share the ugly truth with you. I replaced my own AC at my house when it was 7 years old because I wasn't going to start chasing repairs. I had a coil leak at 6 years old. The compressor started sounding like it had a bunch of rocks in it, like almost a year later.
Mhm,
So I made that decision and justified it in my mind that if I'm going to be here for a long time, I'm not going to be the guy that gets off of work and then starts working on his own AC. Just like how you see any mechanic and you look at their car, it's the worst one you've ever seen because the last thing that a mechanic wants to do when they get off work is do their day job at their own house on their own vehicle.
right.
So in my mind, it was, hey, I'm going to give you this option because I've went through the same thing and there's no BS, there's no fluff on it. If that's not what you want to do, that's fine. But I just want you to make sure that you understand what options are available to you. And on that example specifically, dude, we went in circles till about 12:30 in the morning because they're
Mhm,
like, "Nope, we're not replacing, we're not doing this." And once everything was on the table, I sat and shut up.
mhm,
And I listened to the couple kind of go back and forth. And as they were having their discussion, I just started writing some different investment terms out and the monthly investments associated with it, and then just handed my clipboard over and said, "Hey, if it helps, these are some different ways where you can make it affordable." They didn't talk to me for like 20 minutes. And they're like, "Okay, we're going to do this one, the two-stage unit at this monthly payment." I go, "Are you sure you don't want to do the leak test and drag out this fix?" "No, no, no, we can't do that. We have to get this done for our grandchildren." "Okay, well, let's get started."
This is so good. Um, I love that last minute. I mean, the entire process now with you is you're almost trying to unsell it at every step of the way. It seems like.
In a way, yeah. I want to make sure that anyone that I have the opportunity to work with loves their project. I don't want to do business with a sourpuss. And so I always want to give people the option. And I have fun with it. I'm like, "Hey, are you sure this is what you want?" I'm sure. "Okay, going once, going twice. Like, this is the last call." "No, no, no, this is the one that I want." "Okay, you win. Let's get it done."
Mhm. But
We
that
make a
triple
game out of
option
it.
though, there's no wishy-washy at that point.
Exactly. And that, to me, it's, I know some people do just, one form of a takeaway at the end. Just always give them the option. Let them know that, hey, I'm not forcing you into anything. This is your home. It's your money. You do what you want and what you feel is best. I'm
Mhm.
just here as the conduit to help you get to where you want to go, whether it's prolonging the system and keeping it alive or getting you something that's a little more comfortable, more efficient. You're in control, man.
I think a lot of people are scared to do that, and they feel like they have to force it. Why do you think that is? I have an idea and a suspicion. I mean, I know what I know, but I'd love to hear from you. I mean, why do you think people are scared to really go hard on, "Are you super sure that you wanna do this?"
Man, I don't know if it's maybe the fear of them planting that doubt in a homeowner's mind where they actually call them on their bluff. But to me, like if I get any of that doubt when I ask, okay, well, what do you think is holding you back right now? Like, how can we figure this out?
Mhm,
Like, let's just get all the things in front of us as to why this might not be a good idea. and then requalify the entire job from there.
That's super powerful. I think, I mean, my mind goes to they feel like they're, well, one, if I mean, if you're in a role and you feel like you have to, if it leans at all or you feel icky at all about helping someone arrive at a replacement, then it feels skeevy or it's in any way deceptive, well, then we're doing it wrong. We don't need to lie, cheat,
100%.
or steal. We just have to. I think so many people don't understand that the clearer that you can show their options, but not just the options. And this is so. Let's go here because I think this is the piece that's missed. So forever, for 30 years now, our industry has known that we have to show options, show options, show options, show options. You got six options, you got four options, you got three options, whatever it is. It doesn't matter how many we're showing options. But the part that's missed is in exactly what you were saying earlier. So I'd love you to speak to the clarity around going through here are your options and here's what each one will do and won't do, and the potential problems you can run into if you choose these particular options. Because I really feel like maybe 10-15% of technicians and comfort advisors actually truly walk people forward into the future down every single one of the paths so you can lead them to what the eventuality is in a clear way for each of the options so they can make a clear educated decision on the options you put before them.
Ooh, I love this. The easiest example to use in this situation is this refrigerant regulation that we're in right now. Again,
Mhm.
the 454B or the 32, those things, we're phasing out of the 410A equipment. It's now being referred to as legacy equipment. And the thing is, we're struggling to find some of these replacement components. So if I'm sitting with a homeowner and hey, yeah, again, going back to it's a 4-year-old system, but there's no coil for that manufacturer and warranty. Now I can get one from another manufacturer and it has its own 5-year part warranty. But let's just for uh, comparison's sake, let's just look at the worst case scenario. Again, with the zoning, if that coil fails again, and now there's no more warranty coils for that brand, and there's no replacement coils in that size for that brand, or in general, are you going to be okay with spending at minimum a new coil and a new outdoor to update that refrigerant, knowing that you just spent X amount on this coil a couple of years prior?
Wow. Yeah.
The most expensive way to do the job is one piece at a time, in my opinion.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when you really start, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, just recognizing how you made it a question. Are you okay with this potential?
At that point, you're giving them that crossroad. Either they're gonna say, "Yes, I'm okay with that," or they're gonna say, "No, I'm not." And if they are okay with it, hey, again, you're in control, we'll get it done. But when that day comes that something fails and you have to see me again, you do not get the right to tell me that I never informed you of all your possibilities and all of your options. Is that
Mhm.
fair enough?
Now, what you just said, the exact way that you said it, would to some people sound aggressive or direct. Do you say it exactly like that to the homeowner?
I do. I
Okay, so
do in
talk
this
about
role.
that because I feel like people are scared to use that type of direct language. But if so, for everybody listen, this is literally these tiny things here. This is what separates an average technician from an exceptional technician. It's the ability to speak at this level and this directness.
So this goes to, and I have to give it to one of the guys that I'm on team with here. We worked together for a number of years at the first company I was with here in Texas, Art.
Mhm,
There's no room for BS in this role. So if we know in our expertise in our profession that there's going to be problems down the line and a homeowner willingly chooses that, it's our duty and responsibility to let you know what those problems may be because there's a chance that we may be the person coming back.
mhm,
And whether that homeowner remembers us or not, They may say, "Oh, I was never warned of this. What do you mean it's a complete failure now?"
Mhm.
Well, hey, Mr. Sam, we talked about this before. I was like the last guy here, and it's on all my paperwork. It's on your file that we discussed this and you understood and you chose to make the decision that you made.
Mhm.
So now where do we go from here?
Mhm.
It's just understanding that we have to have bedside manner with communication, but at the same time as a technician, we have to be very direct on these things. You wouldn't want to go to a doctor and say, "Oh, well, doc, how's my blood pressure look?" "Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, yeah, no, it's fine." And then 6 weeks later, you drop down, from a heart attack. You go, "Hey, doc, why didn't you tell me my blood pressure was through the roof?" "Oh, well, it was fine-ish. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal."
Mm. Ooh, so the question that I mean, if a doctor did that, that's called malpractice.
100%.
If how many so this is a moment of truth for everybody listening. How many of you, I don't care what your role is, how many of you are committing malpractice in the homes with your homeowners every single day? Whew, that's a big one.
I believe I first heard it from you a few years ago in your podcast that prescription without diagnosis is malpractice.
100%.
What we do in the home, and it's been beaten so many times by all these different people in the industry that we are effectively the doctors of a home when it comes to your comfort. It does mean no justice to leave anything unspoken about if I see it in your home.
Mm, Oh, this is good stuff. So, a couple questions here. We've got to land this plane. We're wrapping up on some time. And again, I appreciate you carving out the time of your day. You could be sitting with a homeowner right now, and I appreciate making the choice to do this with me. Uh, I'm curious. So, what is one thing that you think? So, I'd love to hear one advantage and one disadvantage. So, I'm going to put you on the spot with some questions here. What's one
Certainly.
advantage and one disadvantage for the comfort advisor role, and one advantage and one disadvantage for the selling tech role that you're in now? And then, and so, yeah.
Ooh, okay. So we are coming up in the summer of 2026. I would say the advantage of a comfort advisor in today's market, pending training, of course, is that you can navigate a higher level conversation with the homeowner. The disadvantage to that comfort advisor role right now is I see it kind of ebbing and flowing right now to a point where a lot of companies aren't looking for comfort advisors. They're looking for technicians that can sell because too many homeowners right now, at least in my market, are wanting that fix it first mentality.
Hmm.
They want to know how long can I keep it running? And so as a comfort advisor, you may not get as many leads as maybe we've gotten in the years past. And
Yeah.
I noticed it through last year with the company I was at. So yeah, that would be my pros and cons on that. As a senior technician or selling technician, you have opportunities everywhere. You're called out to help fix something. You just have
Hmm.
to find out what that thing is. Um, the disadvantage to it is if you're not trained, from what I've seen, you're going to grab a lot of low hanging fruit.
Hmm.
You're going to just, hey, we're just going to fix the box or change the box and not really have those conversations of, well, hey, look, if repairing this isn't the best way to go, how do we want to set this thing up for long term success and for the best level of comfort and health and safety for you and your home?
Hmm.
So I think a lot of technicians that aren't trained in communication skills like a comfort advisor is, they may not have those conversations. So they're leaving a lot of help for the homeowner on the table because they don't know what they don't know.
Hmm.
And that's where getting into some sort of training with you, with our friends Doug, with Scott, things
Hmm.
like that, where man, the better we can communicate, the better we can help people.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. I love. First of all, I love that you said they're leaving help for the homeowner on the table, and you didn't say they're leaving money on the table, which that resonates with me because that speaks to where your heart is helping people and the money will follow. We're not chasing the money, and then we get what commission breath in the house and it turns people off. But
100%.
um, man, so this is such a powerful conversation, and I hope everybody listening is really dialing into what Christian is saying here. And I 100% agree because when we zoom out, this trend towards repair first mentality has been happening realistically, if you draw a line right through the center of 2023, that's when it first started. That was the moment that all of a sudden call volume dropped by 20 to 30% in the industry. And that was the moment that things started to trail off. Now, when we say trail off, I've been in the industry long enough, it just has gone back to normal. This is a normal ebb and flow of our industry. So for all of you that said, man, it was that you thought 2020 through 2023 is how it always was, it's never been like that. It's never been that simple and easy before. So any numbers that anybody put up then was fake news, basically. Those are not real. Yes, they're real. They happened, but when we zoom out to the long term, this is life. This is normal life now, and it's what it's always been like in our industry. So it, it doesn't mean that people aren't replacing more. I feel like what's happened though is it's cut out the men from the boys or the experts from the people who are just guessing at it. The ones who know how to have the conversation, the ones that don't. So what I think I'd like to end on with this is um, something that you and I were talking on the phone the other day, but you lightly mentioned it here. There's opportunity everywhere. Every single appointment you walk into is huge opportunity where most people would end up leaving with maybe just a capacitor cell or just a diagnostic or something very simple because they're not seeing the big picture. So help us understand where your head is around that and really unpack it for us of when you say there's opportunity everywhere, how do we find it? What are we listening for? What are we looking for? How do we navigate the conversation? What are we paying attention to? And truly, where's our mind need to be around that?
So I'm listening for any major cues from the homeowner. I'll take it to one yesterday where it was a no cool call slash a maintenance, and the no cool was, hey, reset the thermostat. But as I'm looking at the indoor unit, the homeowner's right with me because it's a walk-in closet. He's stressing to me how bad his allergies are and how bad of symptoms he gets to molds and mildews. So in my mind, it's okay. Well, you're already standing here. We're gonna pop the hood on this thing and we're gonna look at it together. And as soon as I open it, he's like, "Oh, what's that in there?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, what do you think that is?" "Oh, that looks like mold." Well, I can't say it. I'm not licensed. I go through that whole spiel.
Mhm. Well,
And he's
take us
like, "Well,
through the
look,
spiel. Help
yeah,
us with it.
it's hey." So look, legally, I can't call it the two big M words, mold and mildew. So I call it biological growth or organic material. There's over 1,000 different strains of molds and mildews in the United States, and this falls in line with one of them, but we don't know which one it is because, again, we're not licensed to identify. And he goes, "Well, I have a UV light that's supposed to stop this." And I go, "Oh, great." And I pulled the little retainers on it and I lifted it up. There was growth all over the bulb. And I'm like, "Man, so when's the last time you replaced this?" "Oh, it's been a couple years." I'm like, "I don't think it's working, do you?" "No, no, no, we gotta do something about that." "Okay." Put everything back, I do my maintenance, and, his brand was discontinued, and so I'm like, "Hey, look, this is straight from the manufacturer, they don't make this anymore." So I'm like, "Everything else on the system checks out, it's cooling, it's doing all the things," but, man, earlier with the stuff that's in that unit, you were saying was, really exacerbating your symptoms. Man, here's what we can do about it, and I'm very big on repairs and improvements where I write everything out. And I'm like, "Hey, we can do anything on this sheet. We can add it up. We could take them away. You're in control. Design your own package with me." and he had a little bit of stuff in his plenum. He's like, "Well, I don't wanna replace the plenum, but I'll do the air quality package right now. I like that." "Okay, great. Let me check with my office. Let me see if I can go grab one for you, and take me, like, 30 minutes to put it in." "Yeah, that's all. That's exactly what I wanna do. Thank you." "Okay."
Got it. And what's your air quality package?
So that's a Premier One. It's a dual bulb UV system and then an oxidizing system that goes pre-filter on the return side. Uh, that was like $2,500 ticket from $129 no cool call,
Ooh,
and I waived the service call with repairs. So, and it even says it at the bottom. But he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do the cheaper fix, but I'll do the really nice air quality package. I like that one." Like, awesome. Yeah, let's get it done.
so smooth, so smooth. You're a technician, and by
Ah,
technician, I mean you're a freaking surgeon when it comes to navigating these conversations, and it's so powerful, and I can hear how smooth it is for you, and this is just role play and repeating it back. I mean, of course, I can imagine what that would be like in the home with you. In fact, heck, I may drive down and record some ride along so we can throw them on the show for everybody because some
bad idea.
in-person real life experience to if for everybody listening, if you'd like that, shoot me some messages. If you want me to cruise, the ability to do that is really cool because Christian, he lives and works literally an hour and a half roughly from my house, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. So I do have the ability to do that. For anybody else that would like me to come to your site and do ride-alongs and train your people on site, let me know. That's definitely something I do. So we'll come train your people and get you guys at this level in a good jump start in a week. Um, so pop me a message if you like me to do that. But last question, and then we're gonna let you go for the day. And again, appreciate the time. First of all, before this last question, is there anything that you think is related to what we've been talking about today, or just in general, that your top one or two things that you would like to share with everybody that's listening to help them? Drop us some sage words of wisdom here, Mr. Moore, because I know you're full of them. Help some people out, man. What can they do? Either say mindset or tactical things, or what are some ninja tricks, man, to help some people out?
Man, the best thing that I could share with anyone is do not let what happened at your last call carry over into your next call. Taking a couple minutes between appointments to reset your mind, whether the call went good or bad, it's already in the past. It doesn't exist anymore. All we have is the next appointment that we've got to go ahead to, and if someone's in need. It's up to us to figure out if we can help them out or not. And really, the biggest thing, and it comes from the owner of the first company I was with, was we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So we need to listen twice as much as we speak. I know I'm a chatterbox on this. Said a lot of things I want to share with people, but in the home, I just try to listen to what's going on and see how it is that I can help if I even can.
Mhm. Whew. Ooh, if you even can. That so many people get stuck in that. They feel like if they show up to a house and they don't sell something, that they weren't able to help, and just they have this all of this shame and guilt, and or I failed if we didn't do the biggest baddest package on the planet. And I feel like that's such a it's such a toxic thought process that's been ingrained in our industry for too long. So can you take a quick second and talk about that?
Dude, not only can I talk about that, so back in 2023, through that winter, I've went 6 weeks without a paycheck before as a comfort advisor.
Mhm.
And you wanna talk about figuring out mental fortitude to keep showing up to the next call and try to ignore the fact that, "Dude, I can't pay my mortgage right now. I'm getting deep in the hole with credit cards." It's tough. And at the end of the day, even if you decide not to do anything with me and my company that I represent, if I can leave you in a better spot, either doing something small or leaving and arming you with the knowledge of what it is that you may want to do, to me, that's a win. That's going to come back to me from the universe at some point in some way, shape, or form. So we all know as technicians, we can help everyone, but not everyone wants to be helped by us.
Mm,
And accepting that fact makes life a heck of a lot easier.
yeah, takes the pressure off.
100%.
Oof. Okay, last question. Let's pick this back up into picked up some energy here. If you had to now with all your experience and all the different roles that you've had, if you had to pick one as your favorite right now, at least in this current phase of life that you're in, what's your favorite role? If you had a blank slate, you're not employed, and tomorrow you get to pick one and just magically wave a wand, and it's exactly where you want to be. What would that be?
Man, and I've never been able to make a really good answer on this before because I didn't work in all the different things in the departments. Dude, I'm gonna be a selling tech for the rest of my career.
Yeah.
I have I have the ability to work with my hands and feel that sense of accomplishment and helping someone out. At the same time, I have those communication skills to help someone figure out what it is that's an issue with them in their home and how those issues can be taken care of so that way the future is a heck of a lot better than what it used to be.
Nice.
No better feeling of gratification than this role that I'm in right now, man. I love it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for that. And thanks for this episode. This has been a good one. I know that this is going to help a lot of people in the roles that they're in and also in their decisions. We've got a lot of people that are not in the right seat on the bus in our industry that should be in one of those other roles that are not right now, and it's they're in a very uncomfortable position because it doesn't speak to their best skill sets. And so, thanks for shining a light into some of these dark corners that a lot of people don't really talk about in our industry. It's like, oh, it's we all think that well, once you finally make it, you can graduate into the sales role. And I'm like you, I don't always agree that that's the right fit for some people. For some people, it's not.
No, absolutely not. And again, you have to be okay with coming to that realization yourself. And it
Mhm,
may happen quickly. It may take a couple of years of, getting your teeth kicked in. And maybe it just takes the right opportunity presenting itself and you kind of taking a chance on everything that you know to find that, hey, life is a heck of a lot better in potentially a different role than what I've served in before.
mhm.
And I can speak to it as a testament. I love this role. In fact, the entire sales team that I was with at my first company that went PE, we're all selling technicians now.
Wow,
So it's
that's
not just
really
me
interesting.
that's doing this.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us that are rocking and rolling. One guy with me at this company that I'm at, and one at another company, and we still talk every day. And it's like, dude, heck yeah, what have we been missing out on this whole time,
Ah, that's so cool. So cool. Well, man, why don't you take us out? You know how we do?
dude? I would love to. So first off, thank you everyone for listening. Man, let's go save the world one heat stroke at a time, and let's become someone worth buying from.